there, I'm Rocio. Welcome to our training on personal growth. In this video, we will talk about being in flow and some tips that will help you flow. Flow is a mental state where you feel fully immersed with an energized focus and enjoyment. The ego fades out, the time flies, you feel good, and actually, you get to be highly productive. You simply feel like if you were flowing. Have you ever felt this way? Well, this is a state of optimal experience, also known as flow or feeling in the flow. Besides feeling good, flow has several benefits, like having better emotional regulation, as well as a greater enjoyment and satisfaction, also a greater engagement. And this happens because people feel fully involved in the task they are actually doing. Also, you get to learn more, and guess what? Faster. Also increases the level of creativity, and a very important benefit is that helps you have an improved performance. Yes, this is big. This is the reason why actually more and more people are being motivated to study and research deeper into what is the flow state. For example, in sports, people get to be more productive, like running faster or jumping higher. And for example, executives are reporting an increase in productivity of 500%. Yes, that's a lot. That means 5 times more productive. Imagine. Now, flowing or being in the flow contributes to make you feel greater happiness, satisfaction, and very important, self-fulfillment. Flow is actually kind of a new term to describe an optimal experience. During the flow, also known as optimal experience, people get to feel strong, alert, in control without effort. And this is very important, not only in control, but without effort. And they also get to feel unjudged. And this is also an important one, not only unjudged by others, but especially by themselves, as well as they get to feel at the peak of their abilities, and they get to feel this flow that I just mentioned before. They also get to feel happy, yes. And keep in mind that happiness, it's a mental, emotional state, that it is cultivated, it is nurtured, it is a journey. It is not given just an automatic. No, it is intentionally pursued by educating and keeping the path of happiness in mind. And what do I mean with this? This means that if you have a goal that it's somewhere in the future, it's fine and it's great. Once you achieve that goal, yay, you get to feel happiness. Of course you do. But do not wait or put in pause your happiness until you reach there. Be happy all the way, the journey from here all the way to your objective, to your goal. Be happy in the middle. Don't wait until you achieve that. Okay, so this is why it's so important to have in mind that you have to intentionally pursue it, and you have to educate and being very conscious that you are in this path of happiness. And it's a road, it's not a destination. It's a path, not a destination. And flow is another tool to walk the path of happiness. When you're at flow or flowing, you don't have to strain to notice that you're moving forward. It feels very natural, effortless, like automatic, like the time just disappears. Have you ever been conscious about doing something and suddenly you just observe the watch and it's like, oh my God, 5 hours passed by? What? Well, that's what we're talking when we mean by time disappearing. It's just, you just didn't feel it, it just went by. You also get to have this energized concentration. All the senses are super focused. You enjoy doing the task or activity that you're doing in the moment. You're not thinking about something else in the future. No, you're like super focused in the activity you are doing in that instant, in that moment. You feel completely absorbed in what you are doing. And it seems like if you're literally flowing through whatever is it that you are doing. It doesn't matter what activity or task you're doing. It's just that you're so immersed in it. Now, this mental or emotional state is often called also being in the zone. Have you heard that? I'm in the zone. It's very very common for athletes to use this term. As I mentioned before, flow, it's actually kind of a new term. Since a long time ago, several people have worked around this topic for years now. People like Viktor Frankl, Kotler, Nakamura, Dietrich, Haim, Maslow, among many others, and many others to come. And the flow concept, aka being in the zone or the optimal experience, really arises with, let me read this one to you. Me high chick sent me high. Yay! He's a Hungarian and he was a prisoner during the Second World War. And afterwards, he became a psychologist. And he got to study how happiness levels really change when people get to flow. So he does one of the largest investigations around the whole world, studying optimal performance. And he gets to interview different athletes, musicians, scientists, artists, and so on. And he observes that people are more creative, more productive, and happier when they were at the flow. There are several features or characteristics in the flow. First of all, you need to have very clear goals every step of the way. And that does not mean that you have to know what are you going to be doing in 1 month, in 3 months, 1 year. No, it means to have very clear what you have to do in every step of the way of the activity you are doing in that exact moment. In this activity that you're doing one step and then the other step, and you're having clarity about what you're doing, you get like this immediate self-feedback on the actions that you're actually doing. So you might be doing a little step and then you notice, oh, if I do this in this other way, it can improve. And then it starts the virtual cycle where you actually get to know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. But even though you already know, you get the chance to give yourself immediate feedback on this action that you're doing in order to have this activity or task done. Also, the second one is to have a full concentration on the task, be fully focused, be with the distractions excluded. I know a hard one is the cell phone, right? Yeah, I believe me, I'm talking by experience. It's a hard thing to get off from. But well, this is something you have to do to get in the flow, or actually you do when you are in the flow. You exclude all the distractions. You totally get absorbed by what you are doing, and everything else tends to disappear. It's like you don't even remember, like, oh, am I supposed to eat? Sometimes people don't even remember that, oh yeah, I have to stop and eat. They just keep on doing it because they're so invested. And oh, they get into their deep now. And this is when they get to have the sense of time altered. And the deep now, it's when they just don't think about the future. They don't think about the past. They're just simply focused on right here and right now. And we'll talk about this deep now a little bit more in more depth in a moment. Also, the other characteristic, it's that the experience is rewarding by itself. And this is when you start doing something and you feel so good about that, and you keep on doing something, the next step of that same activity, and the next step and the next step, because the activity by itself, it's been really rewarding. And it's so easy to do the task. You really feel like you're like effortless. You don't have to do like practically no effort. And you feel this balance between the challenge and the skill. And this is a very important thing that happens here. The level of the skill, it's how do you know how to do the thing or the skill? So that's the level of the skill. And a skill normally has several ingredients. Like, first of all, you have to know what it is that you're doing. For example, swim. So you know that to swim, you have to move one arm, then the other one, then the face, you have to breathe and move the arm, the other, and so on and so forth. And now that's something you know. However, you need to actually do it, right? So you get into the pool and now you actually get to move the arm the way you know, and the other one, and so on and so forth. So you are actually doing it. But now, in order for you to be skilled at that, you need to practice it. So you have to do it several times to gain experience. And that's the way that you're going to get to have the skill. So on one side, you have the skill that it's something that you are capable of doing successfully and understandably, like how is it that you have to do it? And on the other hand, we have the challenge. How big is the challenge against what I know? So imagine if, for example, if I'm not a walker at all, I don't even walk. Maybe I walk, from my bed to the bathroom and to the office, and that's it. And out of nowhere, I want to run a marathon. That would be a big challenge for my skill. So I would have to like balance that. Okay, where am I with my skill, and what is the level of challenge that I want to put in front of me? So this is something very important as the characteristics of being in the flow, which is the balance between the challenge and the skill. And also we have the other characteristic that it's the action and the consciousness when they get to actually merge. And this is really when we don't get to be concerned about the failure. There's no concern about failing because you're just doing it. You're focused on the activity, not on the consequences. You're just focused on doing it. Other thing that happens during these consciousness merge is that the self-awareness disappears. You totally forget about your ego. It fades off, as I mentioned before. It's just that it's not there. It's not, this little boy is judging. No, it's not. It just goes away. And finally, also you get this feeling in control over the task. And who can experience it? Anyone can experience the flow state. And the experience is going to vary from person to person. You can have an individual experience, like whatever you're doing, you're so focused, you're super immersed in the activity and you're enjoying it. And that's great. But you can also do it as a group or as a team. For example, in sports, people, if you get to play football, people get in this flow when they are focused in the activity, when they get focused on the game, for example. So they're not focused on, hey, there's my mom, my dad. What if I win? What if I lose? What about the other team? Are they good? Oh my God, better or worse than me? No, they don't think about that. They get into this flow experience when they are very focused in the game. So they are really concerned about, hey, this is my teammate. Hey, the ball, should I pass it to who? Who's going to catch it? Then we're going to run. We're going to make a goal, or we're going to, make a touchdown, or whatever sports they're playing. But they're focused on the game by the game, not around the results of the game or the people surrounding the activity. No, they're focused inside of the game. They're enjoying actually to be the way that one it's with the other, that they're like passing the ball, that they're like, connecting, and they're so focused on the same activity, on the same goal, that it's enjoying the game. And actually part of that, you have noticed that they even wear the same clothes, because that helps to put you in this flow mode, that it focus your senses towards, okay, this is the team. I'm part of the team. You wear your shirt the same color. It's part of the signal to the body, to the mind. Hey, we are a team. We are doing this. And they get immersed in this activity and they enjoy it. And you probably have heard coaches that tell their athletes, forget about everything else. Don't worry about who's watching. Don't worry about the press. Don't worry about mom, dad, husband, wife, whatever. Don't worry about that. Focus on the game. Just have fun. Enjoy the activity. What the coach is really trying to do is for the athlete to get into the zone or into the flow, because that's where you get to perform better, because you're focused on the activity, you're enjoying, and all of these things that we have been talking about get to happen in that moment. And as a consequence, you will probably do a very good job in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, so that's something that you can maybe notice more often in sports, because it's like very popular there. And while doing the activity, either by yourself or as a team, you can have different levels of flow. And by different levels of flow, what I mean is that you can have a micro level of flow or a macro level of flow. For example, a micro level of flow, it's imagine that you get to talk to your friends like from time to time and you're over the phone. So you have this, bestie and you love to talk with her and you get over the phone and you FaceTime each other or you Zoom or you Skype and you see each other, through the phone, and you kind of have like your little chat time. And you get so immersed there that you enjoy it so much. You don't even realize that you talk with the friend like for 2 hours, and suddenly it's time to go to bed or it's time to do something, and you realize, I was having such a good time. So that's an example of a microflow. And also, you can have a larger flow. For example, imagine that you have this same friend and you get to see that friend, but after like a year long that you haven't seen each other face to face, you have the chance to see each other and touch and hug and kiss. And what happens? It's like, oh my God. Hello, my dear friend. How are you? So good to see you. You would hug, you would kiss, and you would start chatting, not for an hour, but maybe like for three. And your level of flow would be so much higher than every week over the phone. So this is another example to notice the different levels that you can get to achieve on the flow. And you can get to have like super high levels of flow, like for example, the monks, they get into this deep meditations, and they get to get so into the flow like for days. They stop eating, they stop doing everything, and they're like just in there, they're flowing, and they're having this super flow, like a macro flow. And well, that's another level of flow, but each one is different, and each one of us can have any kind of flow. You can find your own flow, very macro flow. You can have this moment of meditation or whatever, and then you can get to feel that you're like one with the universe, and you don't have to last for 3 days. You can last for like a while, but in that moment that you just felt it and that you're like flowing in that moment, that's a macro flow, for example. So here it's very interesting that you have to observe that you can have small, medium, or large levels of flow. But regardless of the size of the flow, it's always important for you to enjoy and embrace the moment of flow that you have, because that helps you increase your levels of happiness. Yay! And with this level of happiness high, well, what does it happen neurologically? So we're happy already. We have this flow, and we get it. I have spoken about different features and characteristics, but what does happen in your body? And I want to talk about what happens neurologically. So, according to studies, and it is associated with a decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, it's a powerful part of the brain that it's right here. It handles complex logical decision making, manages the long-term planning, as well as a sense of morality, wrong, right, bad, good, all those sort of things. Also the willpower. And in a flow state, this area decreases regulation process temporarily. And this process is called the transient hypofrontality. Don't worry, it's not going to be in a test. You don't have to learn that. It's okay. So right now, when this happens, time, it is perceived differently than normal. It cannot be separated, the past from the future, from the present. And when you enter this state, it's where some researchers call it the deep now that I talked before. And the deep now, it's really when you are aware of the here and the now, and you are like living it like here and now. And this is a very important state for happiness. Why? Because every time you're like thinking in the future, if you get to think too much in the future, nobody knows the future. You can only assume something that's going to be happening in the future. And if you stay too long there, you start to get anxiety because you really don't have control of what's going to happen. Nobody has, nobody knows. We assume we have a lot of probabilities, yeah, chances, yeah, but no one has like the 100%. So it really helps you to become anxious if you stay too long in the future, as well as in the past. If you go to the past, you start thinking about it, and then you start thinking, oh my God, what if? What if? And again, what if? And then you start getting, of course, you don't get into a good mode. So whenever you're very much in the future, very much in the past, you lose the opportunity of the here and now. And that takes you away from happiness. However, if you use the future to focus, like, okay, I'm going to get that goal. I'm going to have this house. Okay, it's in the future. Okay, yay, I'm going that direction. Perfect. And now you come back and you enjoy your present and you do something in your present and you do it now to achieve the goal. That's a good thing. You're doing a good use of the future in the present. Notice it? The same in the past. If you go back in the past and you analyze, oh yeah, okay, well, lesson learned. Come to the present, use the information as lesson learned, and put it here and now and start doing something in the here and now. And you actually get to live in the here and now. So that's what really is the deep now about. And when you get into the deep now, it's really when you get to have the anxiety disappearing and the stress hormones get to flow out of your system. And as a result, our sense of self disappears along with our inner critic, stopping us from getting ourselves in our own way. And when we flow, we get several neurochemicals like the dopamine, endorphins, serotonin. And guess what? These help us to amplify our performance, increase our physical performance as well, and have a greater strength to cushion the pain, as well as having also this effect on our cognitive function. And the cognitive functioning refers to multiple mental abilities such as learning, thinking, reasoning, remembering, problem solving, decision making, attention, and so many others. And how about spirituality? Spirituality is something that can definitely help us flow. You don't have to be like this monk or this meditation guru to get into the flow. You can have different levels of flow when you get in this spiritual contact. And I don't mean religion, it's a spiritual contact where you get to connect with your higher being and you get to have this space connected, feeling in that zone or in that flow that can last for a little while, or you can have it for a very lasting period of time, like when you do meditation. Actually, meditation, it's a fabulous way not only to achieve flow, but to achieve so many other benefits. So one of the benefits that you can achieve is the flow. And spirituality can definitely help you to get into the flow mode. You can get from a simple, like, mini contact in the day or into a very deep contact whenever you have the chance to stop in your way and connect and get in that zone for a longer while or for a longer time. And you don't have to be a guru. Whatever level of spirituality you have, that's perfect. And you can definitely use it in your advantage to get into the flow. And in order for you to achieve the flow, there is one major thing you have to do. Focus. Yes, you have to focus on whatever it is that you are doing. And now let's go practical. So imagine I want to get into a state of flow. So let's think about something that I want to do, and I want to get this flow going on. So, for example, I want to learn how to cook. Okay, so imagine I don't know how to cook and I want to learn. So I'm aware of my skill. It's basically nothing. I don't know. So I'm going to take a class. That's my first challenge. So I don't know how to cook. However, I'm going to take a class. So the challenge, it's really very balanced with my skill. So I'm very happy because I'm going to learn to do something that I don't know, and I'm going to take the course. So I start with my class and I'm super happy because it's something I like. And I'm focusing and I'm having my class, and I'm having my class starting with a recipe. And I'm going to learn how to cook some enchiladas. And I want to be very clear about my enchiladas. They're chicken enchiladas, and they're teaching me this recipe for 4 to 6 people. So I'm in my class learning my first cooking class of how to do enchiladas with chicken, and it's for 4 to 6 people. Okay, so there I am. I'm happy. I'm balanced. So I'm in the flow. Remember their level. So I'm in the flow. I'm very focused on my class. I'm learning. I'm there. I'm just thing after thing, doing it, giving myself the feedback. I'm in the zone. I'm in the flow. Yay. So now that I know how to do my recipe, I start doing it over and over, and I become more and more skilled. I practice and practice. And then guess what? I become the most popular friend of my friends that does the enchiladas. I do the best enchiladas in my group of friends. So, okay, everybody asks me, oh, come on, Rocio, do the enchiladas. They're so good. Okay, and I'm super happy. And oh my God, I'm super flowing. Every time I start doing my enchiladas, I'm so aware that I'm so good and I'm getting better every time. Even though I'm good, I'm getting better, and I'm just happy. I'm in the flow every time I do the enchiladas. However, suddenly they ask me so often that I'm like already kind of boring. It's like, okay, I'm going to do enchiladas once more. Yeah, well, it's not like, okay, it was my super max. Now it's like, yeah, kind of boring really, because I already know how to do my chicken enchiladas. I do them for my friends, and I do them like all the time. So it's like, okay, something else. I want something different. Now I'm getting bored because I'm doing like the same thing. I'm so skilled, and the level of my challenge, it's very low. That makes me boring. So guess what? I have a friend, and she is going to get married. And guess what? She has asked me to be her enchiladas best maid for her wedding. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But guess what? There's a little thing about this challenge that it's different from my regular enchiladas. First of all, I need to make 100 enchiladas. And the second thing is that she's vegan. So she asked me to do the vegan 100 enchiladas for her wedding. Oh my God. Oh my God. Guess what's going to happen to me? I'm going to sweat like, oh my God. This challenge is so much bigger than my skill. I've learned to do enchiladas for 6 people, and maybe like 10. It's like, okay, so 10 times 3, kind of like 30 enchiladas I can handle. But 100 enchiladas, oh my God, holy enchilada, oh my God, what am I going to do? So then I start to get anxious, because my challenge is so much bigger than my skill. So I start like, what? So first of all, I have to put myself in okay, I do know how to do the enchilada, right? So let's find out how to do them now vegan. And let's find out that you are going to use other ingredients, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there you go. I got that. Now I have to do it for 100 people, or for 100 enchiladas, sorry. So I start doing my enchiladas one at a time. And then I'm in the enchilada number 30, 35, 40, 45. And suddenly I start getting in the flow. I've never done like the 100 enchiladas, but I'm getting there. So with the skill that I had and the level of challenge, it was a high challenge, but it was not like, I don't know, 2,000 enchiladas. It was 100. So it is achievable. So I just start to put myself into it. I focus, I start doing it, and I get, okay, to learn on the way. Okay, this is the way you do 30, now you do 40, now you do 50. And I get into the flow, and out of nowhere, boom, I'm finished. I'm finished. And let me tell you something. The wedding was such a big success, and so were the enchiladas. Yay! I was in the flow. I started to do my enchiladas, and as soon as I got the grip of, okay, I got this. And even though I hadn't done it before, I was already flowing because I knew what I was doing. I knew what was the next step. I knew it. I just had to start doing it, you know? So I got into the flow. Yay! And then now I have a new skill, a bigger skill, and I'm capable of achieving a higher challenge. So, this is what the balance really means. And this is something that we want to have constantly, the balance. And what happens while we're in the balance? If we're not exactly in the perfect balance, but we are sort of like in this example I just spoke to you guys, you start learning. You know, I didn't know how to do the vegan enchiladas, and I didn't know how to do 100 enchiladas, but I started learning. And then I started, like, okay, well, first the tortilla, and then this, and then that. And then I started to do it, and then I got more creative. Okay, what if I do it this way? And then I learned. Remember the self feedback that you get to do while you're doing the activity? It's exactly what is going on. So, okay, this is the way you do it. Now you put the tortilla, now you flip it. Now, once again. And then I'm just like an automatic, yay, yay, boom, boom, boom. You're doing the tortillas, and you're doing the enchiladas, and you're stuffing them, and you're decorating. And because it starts to happen, this flow, and the activity itself, it's so motivating for me because all of these things are happening at the same time. So one goes after the other, and it's a virtuous cycle. And that's exactly what makes us flow and keep going, because we get so into it that we really tend to forget anything else because we're like in the zone. For example, imagine if you get to sell. So you don't know how to sell, but you want to get money. You want to make money. You know that selling gives you extra money. So you say, okay, I'm going to sell, but I don't know how. So you get like this mini, tiny course of what's the product, how to sell it, and mini objections, how to handle them. That's it. So you go with the customer and you're like, hey, hello. And you start like selling, but you're not super sure about that. You know a little bit of information, but once you were there with the customer, you started noticing, okay, he threw me this objection. I only know this answer. However, and you start connecting the dots. And the more you focus on the activity, the more ideas you start getting, and the more deep you get into the activity. And then you start having all this information, new information, that it's connecting the old information with the new information, connecting the dots and making new information. And normally this helps you provide ideas out of the box, because it's the old information with the new information, and it happens like this super thing of creativity that allows you to make a new idea, normally out of the box. And in that spot, you're selling to that customer, and you don't even know how, and that's what I'm quoting, but you just sold the person whatever you were selling, and then you liked it. Yeah. And then you go over and over and over, and you sell for that person again and again, or for other people. And out of nowhere, you're like selling everybody. You're like in the flow all the time with this activity you're very good at. And I know some of you are super good sellers, and you sell in your dreams. I mean, literally, people have to tell you, like, okay, I got it. Sell me the next thing. Okay, I got it. Just let me buy it, because you're so good at it, and you feel so good. You don't even realize how good you feel. You just do it and keep on doing it because it makes you feel good. So you get so deep into your activity. And that's a good thing, because this is what allows you to have this skill. And the more you do it, the more experience you have in the skill. Also, that gives you this power of having to the power and the everything you need to achieve higher goals every time. So when you sell like, I don't know, 5, you're ready to sell 7. And when you sell 7, now you've done it, you're ready to the next challenge and so on. So really the flow, it's this balance with your skill and with your challenge. And if you observe every time you have a challenge that it's kind of balanced with your skill, you can definitely get to put yourself in the zone and achieve fabulous outcomes and fabulous feelings of well-being, fabulous feelings of achieving, and you actually get to be in the flow. Now, you want to get ready for the flow? You want to get flowing? Okay, let's get prepared to flow. First of all, be clear about the goal you want to achieve. And by that, I mean, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? Okay, so be clear about that. And every step that you have to have, at least the basics, so you can get to keep on building over that. Be intentionally focused on the activity. Like put all your senses into it. What is it that you want to do? And shut out everything of distractions around you. Cell phone. Yeah, we already talked about this. I know it's a hard one, but leave it out. Or the TV, or yeah, I can multitask and do 10 things at a time. No, just focus on that one thing. Also, get in position. So, and this is super important. So, for example, imagine when I was in my cooking class, remember my enchilada class? So I have to feel I'm there. I get in position. What does that mean? That means I get my spoon, I get my spatula, I stand myself and okay, I'm a chef, I'm a cook. And you know what? This is not enough. I'm wearing my apron. I'm literally even using my attire to make myself there in that position of I am a chef, I am a cook, I'm here, I'm ready to learn. So I'm sending the signal to my body, to my mind, to my senses. I'm here, I'm learning to cook, yes, or yes, kind of yes, I'm ready. Okay, so that happens all the time. So if you're in a team, for example, you're playing for a team, you put your t-shirt and okay, now I'm in the team. I'm getting into the zone. I'm going to play ball. We're going to play. We're going to have fun. We're going to throw the ball one to each other and take it to the other side of the court and do a touchdown or do a goal or whatever is it that you want to play. You get in position. And also very important, seek to balance the level of the challenge with your skill level. Remember, if you have too much skill and the challenge is slow, you will get bored. If you have little skill and the challenge is super high, you're going to be anxious. So balance something in between. It's not that in automatic you're going to be exactly 2 levels of skills and 2 levels of challenge. But you have to balance that. And that's why I keep on using the word balancing it. You have to have a little bit skill and then a little bit larger challenge. So you stretch yourself and you become a better version of yourself. And there you get the space to flow and flow and flow. And that's definitely a fabulous thing. Absolutely fabulous. However, it's important for you to have in mind that flowing in a day-to-day life, it's very important for creativity as well as for well-being, definitely. Flowing can be described as a key aspect of the self-realization. And because it's so rewarding in itself, the more you practice it, the more you look to do it again. And that can definitely help you lead a happier life. However, be aware not to overdo it. Because sometimes, guess what? You get so focused and you get so immersed in the activity that you forget about everything else. You forget about drinking water, you forget about sleeping, you forget about eating, you forget about people around you, you forget about other things in your life that are also important. So keep in mind that whenever you flow, make sure to balance the parts of your life that matter and what makes you flow. And now the 3 ifs. If something in this video has been useful, make sure to give it a like. If you want to receive notifications for more trainings, simply subscribe and turn on the bell. If you think this information can help someone else, share it. See you soon, and God bless you.